Hello and welcome to Foundations of Chiropractic Practice 3 or FCP3. I'm Bianca Zitzman. I will be running the unit of FCP3 alongside Dan and Fiona, who you will get to know a little bit better when our practicals and tutorials come into place. So here's a short video introducing who I am and gives you a little bit of a background, plus a sneaky little introduction to chiropractic on international television.
Saying the second one was the problem.
Heads in, hold.
Let's go down the sideline now. Bill Harrigan.
Yeah, Drew, you're just talking about the referee. There's a lot of good stories about players in the game. What about this referee? Her name's Bianca Zitzman. She was born in South Africa, currently lives in Wales. She's a sports chiropractor. She is a research scientist, mainly into neck injuries, a guest speaker, and she's refereed both rugby union and league. She only got involved in rugby league because after the 2013 or during the 2013 Tag World Cup, she worked with the Australian team and only last year made her debut as a rugby league referee.
Well, good on Bianca Zitzman. What an incredible story, and hello to all our South Africans out there watching the coverage this afternoon. As it goes now to Madeu, and a chance here for the Ferns. They go out wide. It's with Woodman. She goes herself, Woodman. Too strong, and she's over. Chantel Woodman, she backed herself. And the Ferns have another.
Just making it hard on themselves there, the Cook Islands. Lost their way a bit in that set, trying to get out of trouble, get out of their own end. They look very dangerous when they run direct. Off the back of an error, you just can't afford to give too many errors and too many opportunities to a quality side like the Ferns.
Once again, Woodman, she just backed herself, and the score now 14-0, New Zealand lead.
So how the unit runs is we will have online lectures. The lectures will run for 20 to 30 minutes. If you utilize these lectures appropriately, you will get little tidbits that you will use in clinic going forward. So my lecture outline will give you some basic premise of what we will be doing in practical class. It will give you some foundations in biomechanics, what might go wrong, and then a little bit of a case. Now throughout that lecture, I've peppered a couple of tasks for you guys. Now if you actually partake in the task, there's two reasons I've put that task in. One, to embed some knowledge, but it's a practical way to embed some knowledge for you guys. Two, those little tips you can pass on to your patients. So you can continue to have these little micro breaks and micro habits throughout the actual lectures, and it's more information that you will use and you will synthesize for your patients and for yourself. So if you really partake in the lectures, you'll get a lot out of them. Equally, we'll discuss the lecture content when we come into our practical classes. So, you know, we might have wrist, for example, and I might ask the question, what is our normal ranges of motion in wrist? Because that information will continue for you throughout your career as chiropractors. And it's really important to remember the numbers, because when a patient presents to you and they've got some wrist pain, you manage to get your patient moving a little bit better, but they might still experience that top end of pain. It's where they feel that pain. So that's where knowing the numbers is really important, and knowing what the normal numbers are. So that's an example of how our lecture content will be used in our practical classes. So that leads us on to our practical classes. We'll have 2 practical classes per term. They are compulsory. It's an 80% attendance. We will have an on-campus activity in every single practical class where a tutor will sign off the activity once you have completed the activity. And it's a pass-fail unit. So if you do not attend our practical classes, which you will want to do, chiropractic is a practical skill set, you will not pass the unit. But I don't see that being a problem for any of you guys. You're all going to turn up and you're going to have so much fun in our practical classes. With Dan and Fiona, it's going to be such a fantastic learning environment for you guys. A safe, a challenging, but a very interesting learning environment, and a big step up from that year 1, but a beautiful transition into that year 3. So our practical classes will run on a Monday and a Wednesday from 9 until 11, and then the second class will run from 11 until 1. Okay, remember our T with B is from 1 to 1:30. So if any of you have any questions or just want to have a general chat afterwards, you're more than welcome to come and have a cuppa with me afterwards. So that's our practicals, that's our lectures. Then let's have a quick chat around our assessments. So I've mentioned before our on-campus activity, so 80% attendance, but let's aim for 100% attendance, because the more you turn up, the more you'll engage, the more you'll understand the content, okay? There are some awards at the end of term that have been introduced from the Chiropractic Australia, and those that do get 100% attendance might get an award. There is some awards for your most improved chiropractic student in our second year, and there is an award for the most outstanding chiropractic student, and that will be decided by myself, Dan and Fiona, and again with you guys who are nominating and putting names forward. So again, attendance really important, but have fun. That's why you're here. You're here to be chiropractors. We're a practical unit. The next set of assessments are 2 online quizzes, and they will run throughout the term. They'll be around week 4, and they'll be around week 8 or week 9, just depending on that December break. So refer back to your Moodle to see when those quizzes are. They'll be online, 30 minutes quizzes. There'll be 20 questions, one time only, and it's not a group activity. You must complete that activity by yourself, okay? And the next set of assessments we will have is OSCEs. Now, you guys have done OSCEs before. You've done 2 OSCEs in year 1. You will have 2 OSCEs for us in term 1 and 2 OSCEs in term 2. The OSCEs will run 5 to 6 minutes, depending on whether it's the first OSCE or the second OSCE, and it will incorporate all of our practical work. And again, if you're turning up to our practical classes, you will have all the knowledge to be able to be successful in these OSCEs. Now, the week before the OSCE is due, we will have a review, then we'll have the OSCE, and you'll get the feedback the following week. Okay? So 2 OSCEs due week 7 and week 12. And then we've got our final end of term test. Now, I've given you the practice online test that you guys can do, and you can do it as many times so that you get a feel of what that test might look like. And then you will get the actual test in week 13. Refer back to your timetable for the actual details of the time, the location, and the day of this in-term test. And I'd like to round it off with, let's come into class, let's be curious, let's have some fun. Let's be aware that, we might be a little bit uncomfortable. We might have to take shirts off in the appropriate weeks that we need to be. We might need to be in shorts. Let's come prepared for the week. Let's come curious for the week. And let's really create that beautiful environment and that cultural environment that we want to succeed as a year group. Week 1, we've got such fun tasks coming, so we're going to do a little bit of personality testing so you guys can start understanding who you are, who your colleagues are. We've got a trip down to the square. We're going to go do some gait analysis so we can get some actual practical analysis behind that, and then we're going to discuss that. So those are going to be a little bit of our icebreakers, so make sure you do your personality testing before. Dan, Fiona, and myself will all do our personality testing too, so that you understand who we are. And why that's important is because we have to communicate as chiropractors. It's not just the skills that we do, but we have to communicate with the people that we're seeing. And we're starting to unravel a whole lot of those soft skills for you guys. So if you turn up, you engage, you're awake, you're aware, you're going to have such a great time for us in our second year. Okay? So any questions? Onto Moodle. There's a Moodle page so you can ask the questions. Again, you might have some people in your cohort that want to ask the same question. They might answer the question for you. Equally, I might pop a little bit of content throughout the announcements that might be more contemporary for what's happening. Something might happen, as chiropractors do. Someone will post a TikTok video and then it all of a sudden becomes news. So we will have that contemporary conversation alongside our units also. So don't be scared to come through, bring something up for us, and then we can have those conversations in our practical classes. T with B after our practical classes, and any other information that you guys need, feel free to email me or just have a chat with me. Okay? I can't wait to see you for term 1, year 2. Well done. We're gonna have such a good time.